Okay, welcome to the short video on how to multiply decimals this time, multiplying. So we start off by ignoring the decimal points and rewriting the question just as if the digits were just whole numbers. So take this 0.78 and turn it into a 78 and turn the 5.2 into a 52. We're going to have to do something later to do the question properly, but first of all let's just work out what 78 times by 52 is. Well, the easiest way to do that, or the way that we recommend in the school, is to convert 78 into 70 and 8 using a grid. Still got the same amount. And then the 52 into 50 and 2. So we split the two numbers up into two parts. Now we fill in the gaps in the grid by multiplying the numbers in the rows and the columns. So this number is 2 lots of 8, or 2 times by 8, which is 16. The number in here is 50 lots of 8, or 8 lots of 50. Now the easiest way of doing that is first of all count the zeros. There's 1 0 there, no zeros on the 8, so 0. And now do 5 lots of 8. 5 8s are 40. So we write the 4 and the 0, 40. Don't think that 0 can be the 0 of the 40. It has to be an extra 0 now. Count the zeros. 0, 1 of them. 7 2s are 14. Count the zeros. 2 of them. 5 7s are 35. So we filled up the grids by multiplying. Now we can line up the numbers carefully inside the grid, making sure that the units line up, the tens line up, the hundreds line up, and so on. Do that very carefully. You'll see lots of mistakes there where people aren't careful. And now we can do the addition. 6, 4 plus 1 is 5, 5 plus 4 plus 1 is 10, and 3 plus 1 is 4. So that's 4,056. Now that's the answer to 78 times by 52. So we can write that in, but we need to be careful about where we put the decimal point in our answer. Now what we do in this question is count how many decimal places there are in the whole question. And then we have to have the same number in the answer. So let's look here. A decimal place is the number of numbers after the decimal point, after it. So there's 2 there and 1 there, so in total there's 3. So I need 3 in my answer. So starting as far to the right as you can, you move forward 1, 2, 3 places, and you put the decimal point in. Now it's very easy to make a mistake at this point, so we always recommend that you just check that it's right by doing an estimation. So above, let's just estimate it. 0.78 is closest to 1, quite close to 1. It's closer to 1 than it is to 0, so we round that up to 1. And 5.2 is closer to 5 than it is to 4, so we round it up to 5. And 1 times by 5 is 5. Now 5 is pretty close to 4, so we can say that from our estimate, that 4 looks correct. If we'd put the decimal point here instead of there, then 40 is not close to 5, and 405 is definitely not close to 5. Not as close as 4 is anyway. So we're pretty certain that as long as we did the multiplication here correct, that we've got the right answer. And we finished the decimal. We finished the multiplication of the decimals. Let's look at a second example, just to make sure. 90 times by 0.45. So let's do the multiplication without the decimal point. Now there was no decimal point here, so it's not 9, it's 90. So the whole of the 90 we need. And then to take the decimal point out, so we're left with the 45. So we've got 40 and 5 times by 90. Okay, so as before, write down the zeros, then 4 times by 5, sorry, 5 times by 9 is 45. And then write down the zeros, 2 noughts, there's 2 of them, so write them down. And then 4 9s are 36. Then very carefully, we line it up. We line up the numbers inside the grid. Okay, and we add, so 0 plus 0 is 0, 0 plus 5 is 5, 6 plus 4 is 10, and 3 plus 1 is 4. So we get an answer of 4050, or 4050. Get my words out, 4050. So we can write that as an answer up here. Okay. Now, in our question, there are 2 decimal places. There's no decimal places here, so we have to have 2 decimal places in our answer. 1, 2. So the answer is 40.50 or 40.5. Let's just check, does that seem right? Well, 90 times by 0.545 is nearly 0.5. 90 times by 0.5, or half of 90, is 45. So again, it looks right. So as long as we've got the numbers right, then in the multiplication, it's close enough that it looks like the values are correct. And then we stop.